Hi, welcome to How to Be a Humane Leader Without Losing Your Job. We're here to chat about humane leadership in a way that's real and relatable, tackling work-life challenges, and offer practical advice to navigate tough decisions. Whether you're leading a team or navigating your own career, we got you covered. I'm Roberto Torres, a startup engineering leader, and with me is Chris Otterkin, a Fortune 100 IT leader. We'll dive into the real world stuff, share experiences, and offer guidance on leading with compassion while keeping your career on track. Today, we will discuss how a humane leader coaches their teams to accept new technology to avoid being left out. Hi, Chris. How are you, man?
Good morning, Roberto. I'm doing good, and it's really me, not an AI.
Yeah. Yes. Uh, 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 Before we begin this, let me tell you that I watched a video on LinkedIn of our recruiters who said to the candidate, "Please put your hand in front of your camera and talk," because the candidate was using AI to be pretending to be someone else. So AI blows my mind, actually.
It is a changing world, and especially for those of us who work in technology, but it's touching everywhere. You don't have to be in IT or in engineering to have AI touch your life or touch your job. And as humane leaders, we have to be humane about things, but we also have to be very forward looking into the future, right? To help our teams prepare. And in my experience, there can be people who are embracing what the future can bring and are excited about it, and they like to learn new things all the time. And there can be people who are, I like the old way, and if they had their choice, they'd still be riding a horse to work.
Yeah, that, and the thing is, new technologies such as AI, it is not only aligned to IT as we are, as tech or engineering. It goes way broad, way of possibilities over here. It could be for marketing purposes, finance, operations, commerce. There are many, many things that could be done with AI. So it is important for us as human leaders to foster that kind of embracing of our teams of these kind of tools. And I don't mean that you go deep, that you have to code in order to consume APIs. There are many, many tools around the world, even though the ones that are maybe not in our language, maybe there is something, a French tool that could be used from our side, even though we don't speak French, but we let AI, hey, please translate this, and we might use it. So I think there are many AI tools that could be used, but we have to be aware of the situation and do not have blinders that usually stop people from using AI.
Yeah, we have to be the ones that are reading enough research, and we don't have to be the technology person, right? If I'm the marketing person, I don't have to be trying to be the technical marketing person, right? But read about these things. And the way to me that I've kind of used it in social situations, right? Where how do you get somebody that's not technical like me, neighbors, et cetera, or team members, right, to embrace something new is to demonstrate it for them. Hey, you're talking about something, you have some question, and now the simple example that I've used with neighbors is I use ChatGPT to find the answer to something really quickly, right there as we're talking, let's say at a party or something. And they can start to see real benefits to them. So with our teams, as we're being humane leaders, if we have team members that are very resistant to something, a simple demonstration that benefits them is the best way to get somebody on board who's resistant. Just do a quick, simple demonstration, but something that benefits them, not replaces them. In our world of IT, right, a lot of programmers are worried they're going to get replaced by AI. So you got to make sure your example's tailored, let's say in marketing, to, all right, let's just ask ChatGPT something about what are most customers, buying now in this area of the world or country or whatever, and you may find out that, wow, in this country, they overwhelmingly like the flavor of orange. Why are we promoting the flavor of lime then so much? Right? And before, finding that statistical information with Google search or whatever might have been challenging. But in marketing, they've got all these different tools that they go and hunt and can't find it. But sometimes something like a chat GPT, here's your answer. Here's the references to where you can prove it, just to be sure. Always double check your AI, because sometimes they're still wrong. But, if you can demonstrate to your team how to leverage a new tool like AI that benefits them, not replaces them, I think that starts to break down that barrier of resistance of like, I like the old way, I'm going to do things the old way, I only want to do it the old way. Because I think this one, AI, is going to change a lot of people's jobs, some in the negative way. And if they don't get on board, they're going to be in the pool of people that are negatively impacted. And we need to help them move into the positive side of the equation.
Yeah, indeed. And the thing is, you mentioned ChatGPT. For instance, I use Claude, but either tools are great ones because we could not only ask, but we could go have a deep investigation of the stuff that we're looking for. For instance, you mentioned something related to marketing. I will keep that trend, keep that mindset. Excuse me. The thing is, if we are marketing and we have this product that it isn't working, that our objectives haven't been met, okay, try and say, okay, this is the context of all the stuff that we have done before. This is the demographics of our customers who we are trying to sell. But these are the results. What have we done bad? What are the solution that we should be aiming for, and be as much as specific? Because if you are a head of marketing and you tell an engineer, a marketing manager, they will speak the same language. In this case, the AI has to know what are they going to provide to you based on the things that you want to know. So you have to take away what you're thinking into the prompt. And with that in mind, the AI is going to say, hey, I have analyzed this, I have done a deep investigation of all of the data that you have provided me, and I have seen these strength points, and I have seen these ones which are opportunity areas, and the thing that you could have done. Have you tried this? And let the AI and you begin a discussion. Do not take the first thing as, oh my God, that the AI has said, go to the left side, I'm going to the left one. No, begin a discussion, because we as humans know more about our stuff, our company, our position, our objectives than the AI. So we had to do this discussion in order to have these trade-offs.
Yeah, especially when you're using a generic AI that doesn't have your information. For huge companies, right, they may have licensed some AI and may have fed proprietary information in. So we do have to kind of look at this from different perspectives, right? Using a public AI like ChatGPT or Claude, or using private AI that's got private data from your company. Because I do want to warn listeners, you got to be careful what you give to these public AI tools, that it isn't confidential to your company, right? So you do need to think about what you're giving them. But the key point from that I'm trying to make from a humane leadership side is to convince your resistant team, or to convince your resistant peers in other departments, is to just try some demonstrations that are set up in such a way that they don't make that person you're showing it to feel like they're going to be replaced by the tool, right? Because I think what I'm sensing from the people I talk to that are still in the workforce versus retired, you know, the people in the workforce are starting to get worried they're going to get replaced by AI, so they don't want to even think about it or look at it, which is even a more dangerous situation, because then you're even left out of the conversation at work about how AI is going to get used in your role. So, getting our teams to just get out there and try it, just play with it, just simple things. Try some things that will be very basic, and they'll slowly start to adopt it. I think many technologies have been like that along the way, certainly in IT. And I think they certainly were in other fields, like marketing. Hey, think about it. Long time ago in marketing, all it was people sketching and painting to make a picture that went into a magazine. Then there came along cameras, and then came advertisement. Then came publishing software, and then came X and Y and Z. So every industry gets impacted by different technologies in different ways. AI, I think this is going to touch all industries, like you said. It's going to touch lawyers, accountants, marketing, IT. This is not just an IT going to get rid of coders. This is going to be a tool that is going to impact every industry, many different jobs, and those who embrace it early and start to be proficient in it will be better off, right? Those who got proficient in spreadsheets were better off. Those who got proficient in using SAP were better off. The people who resisted things, generally they were not better off. And so as humane leaders, I have found simple, easy wins help you get going in the right direction. Don't come in and try and promise the world that, hey, AI is just going to make your life amazing, Roberto. You will never have another problem ever in your life. Here's AI. Well, that promise is going to fail for sure, right? But if I just say, hey, Roberto, sometimes AI helps you find statistics that help support your argument about how you want to change something. A Google search is going to take you weeks to dig through the data. Using AI, you're going to come up with some great things to investigate in just an hour. And let's try it, right? And you start digging into the statistics of, well, how many people over 55 live in this area and so on. And AI will find it for you really fast. Versus using regular Google search, you'll be piling through tons of websites that don't answer the question.
Yeah, indeed. And the thing is, people and companies are creating new solutions for us, the end user, regardless of the company, the industry, the position that we are, or what we do. Actually, the thing is, I remember before AI, if I wanted to create a presentation for my CEO of something, what I had to do was to use PowerPoint to find images that might resemble what I wanted to say at the presentation at each slide, to add some text over here. And it would take me a long time, a time that I would have been using for other stuff. Today, what I will do is go to Canva, which is an amazing tool, rather than going to PowerPoint. It is free, but it is freemium. And then I will use some AI tools within to say, hey, I want to build a presentation of this, and it will create it. And then I will review it, make some modifications, add something, delete something. Voila, it will be much, much faster rather than go with the other way. And let me tell you something else that I use as an example for when I talk with my teams regarding the use of AI. 3 years ago, I used to have an e-commerce selling Mexican products from Oaxaca, food and clothes, etc. So what I did before AI was to create the description of each product. And it took me like a whole week to create the whole description of that based on the knowledge that I had, based on what I found on the web regarding best practices for these kind of products. When AI was launched, uh, I did those descriptions in 3 hours time of, I think it was 35 products, because I added a prompt to, in this case, ChatGPT, to say, hey, I have this website, we're selling this, and I give a huge content, robust context, and it created the description. And it was something that I read and I said, it makes sense. It was something. And my conversion went up. The other ones were, rocking in this kind of sense, but the other ones, it was really the ones that got the conversion up. So I think the people has to understand that AI is not going to take away your job. What it's going to be is someone who's going to use AI is going to take away your job. It's going to be substituting you. So instead of going to the wrong way, you have to go where the train of thought is going. And I will give you an example. One manager that I know, he in engineering in tech teams, rather not using AI because he said, because of a previous experience, which I had an urgency and I asked AI, the result was really bad. And I thought that because of that, AI is not good. The thing is, if you ask AI something really bad, in a bad sense of creating the prompt, it will give you a bad response. So what you have to do is to create a good prompt with a good context on what you're aiming for to achieve, and it will give you that kind of answer. That's the difference.
Yes, yes. And I think, usually the people that are resistant to change lock on to that failure, right? And then they say, well, when I use ChatGPT, this gave me this bad answer. I remember early on, there was a thing in the news where a lawyer had used it to help write a brief, and ChatGPT cited case law, this case in the court on this year, this happened, except they were all made up. None of those cases existed, and he got caught, because it was so. You have to trust but verify, but also
Yeah.
don't lock into, well, that did that then, because the AIs are continuing to improve. So you have to kind of coach your team to don't get locked into a mistake that happened in the past, because if you just always remember that and refuse to change, when the internet was coming on, people are like, well, it breaks, it goes down, the modem is slow, or whatever, whatever the situation is. Mom, my mobile phone doesn't get data very fast. I'm never going to use it again. Well, they improved it, right? And same thing with AI. I think, as we're coaching our teams, if you have someone who's really resisting and citing, hey, I tried it and it did this and it was wrong. Okay, but how long ago was that? Because if it was even a month ago, it could be significantly better now than it was a month ago. The technology is evolving that rapidly. And so again, I think the early adopters, the people that are into this, we just kind of let them run, let them be examples. As a humane leader, we need to coach the ones that are most resistant and who will likely be negatively impacted by it, and just try and find some simple things that they can use it for, and they'll start to embrace, like, well, I could use it for a few things, and that momentum will build. I actually used it with my sister on some of the complex medical questions and things that came up, or drug interactions, or what does this vitamin deficiency do, or things like that. And it's amazing how, when you feed in questions around medications or anything to ChatGPT, while it tells you, hey, I'm not a doctor, it just explains things and spends way more time explaining to you than the doctor has time for.
Yeah.
And my sister was not big on going to use the computer for anything, and but now she uses ChatGPT quite a bit just to help explain complicated things.
Yeah. And that's good for the system. And let me tell you something. When you are asking AI about something, if you say plainly, the response will be plainly. So maybe you could say, hey, I want to understand how does a company make money, and give this answer to someone who didn't study high school, for instance. With that, ChatGPT will say, okay, I understand how a company makes money, but I will tell for someone who didn't finish high school. And then the answer will be directly to that person who is asking that. So when you're using for yourself, you have to modify your prompt in order for the things that you want to know according to yourself or to the one you are attending to. For instance, you mentioned your neighbors, but maybe if my grandma was alive, I would have said, hey, explain how AI works for a 90-year-old woman. And from that, it will give you the answer. So it's really also important to understand that not only the context, but also the tone and to whom are you providing that answer. And with that in mind, it will make sense. For instance, let's go to the marketing side. If I'm a head of marketing and I want to tell my boss, which is the CEO, but doesn't understand or know about marketing, but he is in a specific kind of behavior or knowledge, well, I will ask the AI to provide this information to this kind of person, and it will give it. Also, as you mentioned, review it because it could have an hallucination, which is the lawyer case that you mentioned, or it might be something wrong. But you will interact and have as much quality as possible for that post.
Yeah, and I think by people's will gain some curiosity. So even if the person who's resistant to it isn't going to suddenly love AI, right? But it starts to pique their curiosity, makes them interested in, well, I'll give it a try for this. And if you have that small win, well, let me try it for something else, and let me try it for something more complicated. It's just those easy little wins. Just like when we're trying to do other projects unrelated to AI, sometimes getting a few easy wins in the project early to get momentum helps. Well, I think when you're trying to change somebody's mind about something new and might negatively impact their job if they're not on board, try and get them to just do some simple things, and slowly over time it'll work. And hopefully they have time. With this AI thing as our example for coaching people who are resistant, they may not have as much time to adopt in the past. A lot of experts are predicting that it's going to be huge changes in the workforce in less than 5 years from right now. And if that's true, people who are resistant aren't going to have a lot of time to change their minds and get on board. They need to start on it now so that they have the skills and have experience with it as soon as possible.
Yeah, indeed. And we as humane leaders have to foster our team to see the benefits, not the rejection, to lead them towards what is going to be best for them and for the team, and also for the company.
Absolutely.
A great man. I think it was an amazing episode, and I will see you next week.
Very good. Talk to you later.